Hello everyone. I am Manohar Kumar, Assistant Professor of English from Government College Devgad. As you know, we are going to study elegy written in a country churchyard composed by Thomas Gray. In the previous lesson, we studied the first stanza of this poem. In the first stanza, we studied that the poet creates the gloomy and melancholic atmosphere of the evening, and he says the evening bell is ringing, which indicates the end of the day, the passing of the day, or the death of the day. The sheep are returning to the village over the pasture land, and they are walking in a winding course as in their habit. They produce their natural sounds. The farmer is also walking heavily homewards, tired of the day's labors. The darkness of the night is descending upon the world, and the poet finds himself all alone in the churchyard. And now we are going to study the second stanza of the poem. Now fades the glimmering landscape on the side, and all the air a solemn stillness holds, save where the beetle wheels in droning flight, and drowsy tinkling lull the distant folds. Now fades the glimmering. Glimmering means here faintly visible, lightly visible landscape on the side, because it is the time of evening, so everything dimly visible in the evening, and the landscape site looks faintly visible, and all the air a solemn stillness hold, and all the air, and in all the atmosphere there is uh, calmness, stillness in atmosphere. Everything is silent, save where the beetle wheels his droning flight. Save means except where the beetle wheels his droning flight. Droning means producing a dull humming sound. Except the beetle wheels his droning flight, except the sound of beetle, the sound of humming, the humming sound of beetle, and drowsy tinkling. There is also transferred epithet is used. Transferred epithet. Drowsy is transferred epithet. Drowsy tinklings. Tinklings are not drowsy, but drowsy. Who is drowsy? Drowsy ship. And drowsy tinkling lull. Lull means falling asleep, falling asleep. The distant folds. Folds means enclosures where sheep are kept only except where the beetle, the sound, the dull and humming sound of beetle and the drowsy tinkling of the sheep and drowsy tinkling lull the distant folds. So the poet says in these lines, there, there is in the evening the landscape looks faintly visible, and everywhere is stillness, calmness, and solitary atmosphere, and except the sound of beetle or the dull humming sound of beetle and drowsy tinkling of sheep can be heard. In this, in the atmosphere of solitude, silence, only the sounds of beetle and tinkling sounds of the sheep can be heard. The atmosphere of descending night is continued here from the preceding stanza. The twilight is deepening into darkness. In the evening, the twilight is deepening into darkness, and the landscape which was dimly visible, in the twilight, has now become invisible to the eyes because of darkness. Silence and an air of solemnity mark this hour. No sound of vulgar mirth are heard, and the silence is broken only by the dull humming sound of the beetle in its circular flight, and by the tinkling of bells round the necks of sheep who are being lulled to sleep by the tinkling in their folds situated at some distance from the churchyard where the poet is standing. So, in this stanza, the poet describes the gloomy and melancholic atmosphere of the evening, because in the evening everything and everyone looks dull and tired due to day's work. So, this stanza suggests the gloomy and melancholic atmosphere of the evening, and the fields and the other sights which were dimly visible in the twilight are now becoming invisible to the eyes. The air is full of silence and solemnity, and the only audible sounds are the dull humming sounds of the beetle which is flying about in circles, and the tinkling of bells round the necks of sheep who are slowly falling asleep in their distant folds. So, it was your second stanza, and the rhyme scheme of this stanza is: the first line rhymes with the third, and the second line rhymes with fourth. Sight, flight, halts, falls. And now the third stanza of the poem: save that from yonder ivy mantled tower. The moping owl does not the moon complain of such as wandering near her secret bower, molest her ancient solitary reign. Save in the next stanza. Means except that from yonder ivy mantled tower. So, save except that from yonder ivy mantle means covered with ivy. Covered with ivy. Tower means church tower. Except from the yonder ivy covered towers, the moping owl does to the moon complain. The moping owl, moping means melancholy owl, does to the moon complain of such a wandering near her secret war. Her wandering near her secret war. Wandering means disturbing near her secret wars. Her secret war means owl's secret place, and molest means invade, attack. Her ancient solitary reign. Her ancient solitary means owl's dwelling place for a long time. So in this stanza the poet says that another sound can be heard is the occasional hooting of the gloomy and lonely owl, which cries whenever it is disturbed by some unfriendly creature, or as if the owl were complaining to the moon about the interference with its privacy in the church tower, where it has always been an undisputed monarch. So, in the third stanza, the poet says, there is no sound except the droning of the beetle, the tinkling of the bells in the sheepfold, and the occasional hooting of a gloomy and lonely owl. The owl's cries heard from the ivy covered church, which is the home of the owl, which is the secret home of the owl, where the owl is disturbed some unfriendly creature occasionally. So, as if the owl were complaining to moon about this creature, that someone is disturbing her secret place. So, from stanza first to third, the poet creates the atmosphere of gloomy and melancholic situation, and the first 2-3 stanzas suggest the gloomy and melancholic atmosphere of the evening, and the stanzas from first to third are remarkable for its vivid imagery and landscape description. So, in the third stanza, you studied that the evening time, in the evening time, there is no sound except droning of the beetle, the tinkling of bells in the sheepfolds, and the occasional hooting of the gloomy and lonely owl, who is as if who were complaining to moon about attack her secret place by some unfriendly creature. So, the secret place of owl is church tower's tomb. So, it was your third stanza. And thank you for today. And in our next lesson, we discuss on the fourth stanza of this poem. So, in the third stanza, you can see the rhyme scheme. The first line rhymes with the third, and the second line rhymes with fourth. Tower with bower, and complain with rain. So, thank you for today.